Hey guys, welcome to another live show, another live She Knows Arsenal. Make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And most importantly, getting into the chat and letting me know what you guys are thinking about Arsenal's 2-0 win over Brighton. We are on to the next round of the Carabao Cup. Job done. That's all that really matters. And it's nice to come back to the channel with a live show talking about a win. And there goes my light, of course. As long as we have these lights, we'll be good to go. But yeah, guys, it was kind of business as usual, not really that big of a deal. Lots of changes in that first half. Hold on real quick. Let me turn off the the TV in the other room. Give me a second. What has gone on in the Chelsea game? In the Chelsea game, they were up like 2-0. I don't know what's going on, but I just turned the TV off in the other room. And they had went to like, I guess, bonus time or whatever. And Chelsea were up 4-0, but they got another red card against Wolves. That's just crazy. But for us, another clean sheet, a kind of listen, I'll say that this is probably the first time that I feel like Arsenal were outplayed at any point in a game, like in terms of like shots and things like that. Brighton definitely, I think, had the better of it in the first half, but they didn't make it count. We had some good defensive intervention from Hincapié and Mascara in that first half to make sure that things didn't really go their way. And then we ended up scoring the first goal with Ethan and then ended like just close that chapter with a Saka goal. It was, kind of what you expect when Arsenal heavily rotate. Everybody but Eze had not been a starter in the last game. So there were tons of changes. When you really deep it, like, when's the last time Norgard has really played? We know Kepa doesn't get any minutes. Hincapié is just kind of getting here, and he really hasn't played since last season. When you really think about Hincapié, he really hasn't played since last season. He did a little bit of the preseason-y stuff with Bayer Leverkusen, but then like came to us, then got injured and is now coming in now. Miles Lewis-Skelly was not really playing that much at the beginning of the season. We know Ben hasn't really been playing either. There's just minutes in the legs for him. Ethan hasn't really got that much playing time. We know Max hasn't really played with us. The young man up front, he hadn't really played with us ever. He's never played with us, or maybe he did once. I don't know. I forgot. And so it was literally just Eze and Marino that are like in the team all the time kind of thing, and have been like this entire season. Maybe Mascara as well is probably one of the more like integrated, like involved with the team. So it was you kind of imagine that it was going to be rough in the first half. We were really disjointed, but we kind of got away with it. And I think, if we're building up that thing where like teams don't capitalize against us and then we go and score, I kind of like that, because I feel like a lot of big teams have those things where every once in a while a team will kind of outplay them, miss all their chances, and then you come down one time and like score. And I feel like that's kind of what we did in that first half. We were outplayed, but it's not really that, I don't think it's that deep considering all the changes that were made and how so many of those players really hadn't played at all, genuinely. So yeah, I'm like, and we kind of needed to make those changes too, because we actually can't afford any more injuries. I was really looking at it. I was like, really can't afford any other injuries. If we start getting injuries to these players, we're talking about like being kind of like in deep shit, in some of these positions, because we don't have Martinelli and Saliba now. They've gotten injured. No Odegaard, no Kai, no Madueke, no Jesus. That's a lot of people out. So I kind of understand why there were so many changes, and it kind of was like, we want to go through, but not at the to the detriment of what we're trying to do in the Premier League. In the past we would have went out. In the past we would have went out. it's really one of those types of games where it's like we just kind of needed to get it done. I think outside of that one mistake that Mascara made, Mascara was really good today. I thought Hincapié was really good today. Um, I thought Max was bright and did some good things. He obviously is like 16 or 15 or some shit like that. So like I'm not going to analyze his game that much. I think Ethan struggled at points, but you know, he got his goal, which was good because I think he just needs a little bit of like confidence. I thought MLS grew into the game. It was what it needed to be. We just needed to get out of there, no injuries, going to the next round. It is what it is. And like Cole said, the league and Champions League are top priorities. And I feel like you can prioritize other competitions without going out sad in domestics. And that's kind of where we need to be in like at this point with Arsenal, where we can prioritize other things without it feeling like we need to pick one or the other, or go outside in the domestics and people are writing dissertations about how we need to just focus on the league and it doesn't matter if we stay in the domestics. You guys know, if you guys have been here for a long time, you guys know how I feel about domestic competitions. I do think they matter. I do think you need to put your best foot forward. I do think if we had gone out today, it would have been disappointing and we could not have ran the bigger fish to fry. We need to be able to win without having to play our best group, like full stop. Of course, it's not our main priority. So if we have to choose as we get further down the line, and we only have a certain amount of players that have good fitness and we have the league and we're at the top and we need to win this game and we're playing a tough game versus this Carabao Cup, of course we're going to pick the Premier League. But I do think that people did a little bit too much mental gymnastics in years gone past. We just needed to get to the point where we can prioritize other things and still win in domestic cups without having to jeopardize key players. And we did that, you know? So I'm happy. I'm very happy about our what we did today. Don't care if Brighton had some shots in the first half. They didn't capitalize. Don't give a shit. You know? So yeah. Benny says the ops were hoping for us to lose. Now they are still focused on Liverpool. Yeah. What's actually going on over there? Because you guys keep saying like Liverpool, Liverpool. What's actually happening over there? I actually was only paying attention to us. I only really saw when they put Chelsea score up in the very like first like 20 minutes of our game and they said that they were up 2-0. Oh shit. That's not who I think it is. That's not who I think it is. That's not who I think it is. I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. Tottenham are not losing. I know Tottenham are not losing. Oh my gosh. So on commentary in the US, I don't know who does your guys' commentary, but commentary over here, Nigel Rio Coker, really nice guy, but he sounded like the biggest Tottenham fan before the game, talking about if they could get their front three together, they'll be so dangerous and one of the favorites for this. And, you know, they didn't rotate like everyone else. They went out with like basically their strongest 11. And so I just think they have the edge with their set pieces. What edge? Hello? Hello? What edge? Surely not. Newcastle, 2-0. What's happening? Hello? That's crazy. That's crazy to me. By the way, side note, Wiltmod is really good. And I think Newcastle should be happy that they got that striker because he's looking the real deal. But Tottenham, surely not. Not with your real lineup out there. No way. Surely not. You got, who is this? Spence, Poro, Bentancur, Bergval, Sar. Who is this? I don't know who that is. Simmet. Surely not. Ciao. Oh, we got Aston Villa next. Oh, you guys are talking about they have. Liverpool have. This collapse is crazy. Who is Nalo? Who is Nalo? He got a red? Damn, they got bought by Crystal Palace. Surely not. 3-0? But Crystal Palace has their number, and Sarr, he scores against them every single time they play. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool fans were saying before this run that they have going, which is like the run of death. They got Villa, they had Crystal Palace, they have Real Madrid coming up soon. It's looking dark for them. They are not confident, and based on today, it's not looking good. But yeah, and City won, which isn't surprising. I think they played the worst team in this round for the Prem sides, right? Sorry, I'm just looking to see what happened. Yeah, and then Chelsea won 4-3 against Wolves. So, yeah. But yeah, listen, we did what we needed to do. We did what we needed to do. It was no skin off our back. It was very much so. I even think, like, even if Brighton had scored, we would have brought in our real people and we would have won. Like, I really don't think it was that deep. I really don't. Lemon says they almost got done. These Chelsea stinker performances are going under the radar. They binned off Kwanzaa for this. Last time he played, he also got a red. Nala, I think you guys are talking about. I have no idea who that is. When is the draw? I guess it's like right after. I don't know. Aston Villa next for Liverpool. Dark days for them. Villa, Madrid, and City up next. It's going to get worse for Liverpool. Jesus, wait, Jesus. I had it every time. It's like when we're talking Arsenal, I'm like, are we talking about Gabriel Jesus or are we talking about just Jesus? Jesus, I hadn't seen how badly Liverpool just lost. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Oh well, they're not my team. Elvis says only Chelsea and City left in the cup. We need to win it. Listen. It's I would love to. Here's the thing, guys. I keep saying this. I've said this every year that there's no shame in winning a smaller cup. We don't have to always act like we're too good for shit. We haven't won anything in so long. So it's like, City for the longest time when they were winning the league, they were winning the Carabao Cup first. And I don't think that they put like all their effort and all their eggs into that basket. I just think that they played well enough to like get that first cup and then it kind of like propelled them on further. And I wouldn't mind if we did that. We're not too good for a Carabao, we're not too good for anything. So we don't have to prioritize it, but I would like us not to go out sad. And last season, we did go out very, very sad in this cup and in the FA Cup. So let's try to get further than that. That would be amazing. And let's go and win it. Why not? We have such a deep squad and like hopefully sooner rather than later we get some of these players back. On a scale of 1 to 10, I am probably like 6 out of 10 concerned about the amount of injuries that we're getting. Not that I am surprised that we're really getting them, but it's a lot. And so we need people to start coming back because we're dropping like flies. We still have good enough team to do what we need to do. Rice is fit, Saka's fit, Zubi, all of that. But y'all got me wanting Madueke back. When does Madueke come back? When does Havertz come back? I need to know because we need some of these people back, So yeah. That's how I'm feeling. Osmond says, I'm more scared of Newcastle and Crystal Palace in this cup, literally because they have nothing to lose. But yeah, playing Crystal Palace is always awkward, and Newcastle as well. So yeah, there's still a long ways to go, but I would love for us to actually like win it, at least get to the final. Kay says, hi, Jess, your hair is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's looking healthy. It's looking healthy. So I appreciate that. Arteta likes collecting Gabriels. He does. If we are deep in the Champions League and league, I will not sacrifice the EFL Cup for those competitions. Hopefully we have the remainder of our squad back. We definitely need that squad back. That's key. Osmond says Arna is losing the plot. Did you see the bench of Liverpool? I didn't, but Was the bench bad? Like, what? I honestly was not paying attention to them. Imma keep it real. Who are these people? Hold on, wait a minute. Are you serious? What is this? Hold on. He had Woodman, Andy Robertson, somebody lucky something, I don't know who you are, Kirkez, Ramsey, Gomez, Endo, Neone, Morrison, Gordon, McAllister, Nalo, and Chiesa. So he didn't even bring the rest of the team, really, or they weren't suited up. They weren't available today. Bruh, he threw the game for real. He threw the game. He said, fuck it. But like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you throwing it? Like, you don't need to be throwing anything. You don't need to be throwing anything. Even like if anybody needed to be throwing something, it might have been us because we have all these injuries and we actually are like in a good position to win bigger ones. So it's like, why are you throwing things? I don't get it. I guess he just wanted to be able to lose a game without needing to like explain why he lost. Maybe that's why he did it. He threw the game to be so he could say, "Oh, well, we didn't really we didn't play our real team like we heavily rotated." I can somebody explain it to me? Like a child? Because I don't get it. Langat says Chelsea has no team A, no team B. They are all the same. Jagoon says he had a bench of non-rare bronze cards. Yazine says he's thinking about the weekend. Yeah, but it's not passing the smell test. You can be looking at the weekend, like we were clearly looking at the weekend, but Saka and Gyökeres and all of our starters that will most likely play against Burnley at the weekend. I know he has to play Villa, but like be for real. Like it's not passing the smell test. It's giving I just wanted to be able to kind of throw a game without having to answer for like why we weren't good. Cuz that doesn't make sense. MMB says they get the ball rolling with this Carabao trophy, start the trophy era. Exactly. Exactly. Akinola says maybe he wanted to punish the first team for the recent poor play. I mean, I guess, but like, okay, maybe it's giving sabotage. John says Hincapie was the best player on the pitch. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. For me, man of the match, definitely Hincapie. I thought he was so good. Actually, when he came off, I was actually surprised. I was like, I get it because he's just coming back to us, and just getting back, like trying to get into form. So I get it. But I thought he was really good. I thought he was really good. I think he had like maybe one little bobble, but outside of that, like defensively, he looks like everyone else. He looks like all the rest of them. He looks like he fits in with the group. I thought him and Mascara made a good center back pairing back there and did a really good job, like just settling the ship. When Brighton were getting those chances, that didn't have anything to do with Hincapie and Mascara. That was more a product of the midfield. The midfield was getting bopped. They were that space in between the defense and the midfield was not being monitored. And I think that more had to do with having a midfield of Ethan Norgard and Marino than anything. I think Hincapie and Mascara did as good as they could possibly do to make sure that Brighton did not score. But I just think our midfield was getting cut through. And I don't think that had anything to do with them. So I thought they were good. I actually thought Kepa was really good. He was doing his best David Raya impersonation coming off of his line and anticipating those long balls into the channels. And he made some decent saves. And he had to actually save more than Raya has ever had to save this whole season. combined. So I thought Kepa was really good. For Ben, I thought it was minutes in the legs. And like I said earlier, I think Miles Lewis-Skelly grew into the game. Nice assist to Ethan for the goal. I do think Ethan struggled for like pretty much the entire game outside of the goal, but you haven't played in a long time and you're also not playing with the starters. Had Ethan played with like Zubamendi and Rice, I think it would have been a different vibe, but it was him and Max on that side. And I just think it was a lot going on. It was just a lot going on. And that position is not easy. We know that. We know that position is not easy. So, but the goal was brilliant. I thought from everybody, like the whole way that it was orchestrated was really, really, really nice. Miles Lewis-Skelly's pass into Ethan was really nice. The flick from Marino, the pass from Eze, all of it was great, so and I thought Max was good. I think he looked like a kid out there, but outside of that, I thought that he had some really good moments where he beat his man, and those are like grown-ups. So good for him. I think Max was good. And we did what we needed to do. I'm not going to rate the players that came on because they're the real players. So like, who cares? Kay says Skelly, Nwaneri, and Saka all had goal contributions tonight. It was about Halen. Brighton had physically big players, so our young players had to cope with that. I agree. And I think every time that one of our players got the ball, it was like one of those Brighton players was on them. Fair enough, so it wasn't the easiest of games for the kids. I'm not saying that Ethan played poorly because he's a bad player. I'm just saying that he had some moments where I thought you need to let the ball go a little bit sooner, like the time where Max put that really nice pass in for Ethan. He held onto it, and took a shot when he probably should have just passed it back to Max. Things like that, so things that we know Ethan is naturally good at that he didn't do well today. Yeah. Akinola says, doing the winnings without conceding, we really need to praise how much Arteta has put into the defense. I mean, all the buying of center backs and fullbacks has definitely come good. And I'm saying that in jest, but I do enjoy not conceding. And that means that we only have to really score one goal to win games most times. So yeah, I think it was, we have the best defensive unit in Europe. Facts, Kepa really impressed me. Complete composure and concentration. John says, boring, anti-football, haram, Arsenal, they said. Chola says, he's scared as shit. Slot is fake bang. Average coach. Isn't he the same coach we beat 4-0 when he just returned to the Champions League? With Slot, he's definitely in the washing machine. And I don't know if how he's going to get out. Not bringing your real team today is very strange. And I'm looking forward to understanding more about like why he did that, because it's not passing the smell test to me, but it is what it is. One says Liverpool out, want to avoid Newcastle even more than City, especially away. African Soldier says, Jess, Nwaneri makes us play fluid. Thoughts? If you think he made us play fluid today, then cool. Sure. I think we watched a different game. I don't think it was necessarily fluid in any way, shape, or form. Braps says Liverpool did fall off later end of last season. And Mata says, do we still feel okay about Ben White, like he's got the job done? But I actually think Ben did well in certain moments. Like he had that one really nice run that it was really on Eze that move didn't come to fruition and nothing happened with it because he was offside. Ben spent almost a year out, so I'm really trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here. But do I think he's ever going to be the same player that he was when he first came? No, I think the injury that he sustained and the fact that he played on that injured knee for almost this whole season because Timber had gotten the ACL tear and Tomiyasu was out has probably done irreparable damage to him. So I don't want to be too harsh on him, but we have solutions beyond him at this point. If we needed to, we could play Mascara there. I know that Saliba's out, and I don't know how long he'll be out, but I don't think he'll be forever. So, yeah, with Ben, I'm not that worried about it, but I understand why other people are worried about it because he just doesn't look like the player from before yet. Could get back there. I doubt he will. But he like basically, you know, tore his body apart for us for a year. So, there's a video of Thierry where he scored a free kick, looked to where the camera was and said, "Good enough." That's how I feel after not scoring a set piece today. Honestly, Ayara, I want to win the Champions League or anything 1-0 with a Gabriel corner header. I actually want to make them matter. I love the open play goals today, don't get me wrong, but I live to make them mad because I don't understand what they're mad about. I do understand what they're mad about, but it has nothing to do with set pieces. It really has nothing to do with set pieces. If we were playing brilliant football, swashbuckling, the beautiful game, tiki-taka, whatever you want to call it, they would still have something to say. There'd be something else. The goalpost would be moved. Like, it's just because it's us. Like, it really has nothing to do with anything else. So, yeah, but the fact that they are getting so worked up, I think, because they need to believe that the set pieces will run out. But if we're in a situation where we don't have to rely on set pieces or set pieces don't need to be scored, we'll figure out a different way to score. Like, So, yeah, I just think they're just being their normal selves like they always are and finding a reason and finding a way to be mad about Arsenal. Jess, I can tell you exactly what they're mad about. We were the butt end of the joke for 15 years plus. If we win, I and a lot of others will be unbearable and they don't have places to hide. I think we should be unbearable when we win things. Like, I don't think we should, like you said, we've been the butt end of the joke. It's always been about Arsenal, 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 Arsenal. So, why wouldn't you be unbearable? Do what you want to do. Like, say what you got to say. Like, who cares? At the end of the day, they've had carte blanche to say whatever they want to say about us, even if it's been untrue. So, yeah. Victor says, don't let this Timber evolution go under the radar. His attacking play has exploded. He's quickly becoming one of the most complete fullbacks in Europe. Victor, Timber, that run, the pass, he's just on another level. And he is rounding out his game nicely. There are moments where he could be a little bit slicker in the box, but I just feel like it will come. Timber's still young and getting used to playing this role. He didn't play the exact same role at Ajax, right? And we're asking him to do a lot more going forward than even last season, because last season was pretty much like a batten down the hatches, like we're being attacked. Like, that's basically what it was. But now he's doing so much more going forward, and I'm not surprised. Timber is like a Rolls Royce player. He is a quality player. And so to me, he's the best right back in the league, the best fullback in the league to me. I don't really even think anybody on the other side is doing anything but Calafiori, if I'm honest. And outside of like Nuno Mendes and Hakimi, nobody's really chatting to him. So yeah, Timber's that guy. Jagoon says, I've been seeing him compared to Reece James. He's better Reece James in 2025, give me a break. I don't care. Timber is world-class. I said it. He is world-class. Like, yeah. John Donut says, hey, Jess, hello to you as well. And I agree with Arsenal. Ignore the media game by game. This is our year. If we can just maintain the course, we'll win something big this season. We have everything in our disposal. And I also want to say that I think Mikel has managed our season up until this point really, really well. Outside of the first couple of games where I think he lent on Moreno too much, he's changed that. There's been times where Mikel is stuck with things that aren't working for too long, for whatever reason. If that makes sense. And so, like, the biggest example of that would be to continue to play Rob Holding in a title in a title race where we're losing steam, and he's clearly the catalyst for so much of the nervousness at the back, that kind of thing. And so we've seen at times that Arteta's been reluctant to change things, even if they're not working. It was kind of obvious, I feel like, that Marino wasn't really like needing, he should not have been relied upon to start for us. We needed to shift to Eze or something else. And since we've done that, we've been so much better than we were in those first couple of games. So, and since then, he's managed the squad. Guys have went out. Guys have not been available to us, and he's done well to like keep us going. This Trossard starts in the Premier League. Gabriel Martinelli comes off of the bench in these other games or starts in Champions League. That's working for us right now. And he managed today perfectly. He gave players an opportunity to get minutes in the legs. He gave the kids a chance. And then when we needed to lock down the game, he brought in Gabriel and he brought in Timber to batten down the hatches for us a little bit more. And then he brought in Saka. Saka scored and game done. So up until this point, I think Arteta's done really well in ever-changing circumstances where players are adapting, players are injured, things are changing, different types of opponents, different types of questions, multiple competitions. He's done well, so Arteta deserves a lot of credit for that, because a lot of it has been him. Mata says, please, Jess, I don't want to hear Rob Holding's name anymore. We're past those dark times. Listen. I will never forget the wars online. He's not the reason. Okay. He's not the reason, but he's also hurting us badly. It's just a lot going on. Those are the dark days. You're right. We put those behind us. Lemon says Mikel should be a striker or the guy behind the striker. You can't do the DM left 8. I actually think he's better at left 8 than he is at right center mid. I think when he really struggles is when he plays Odegaard's position. I think almost everybody struggles, to be honest, when they play Odegaard's position. I saw in the last couple games that people have been asking questions about Eze and saying he needs time, and he does. He needs time, but I think people overestimated the position and what it requires, and they're noticing that something is missing when he's not there. Something is missing in that midfield. That doesn't mean that we're not winning. We're obviously still winning despite that. So it's not like it's fatal or a single point of a failure like it's been in the past. But yeah, when Marino plays in the right center mid, which is where he was playing in those games against City and Liverpool, he was playing Odegaard's position. And then it was Rice and Zubi. That is his worst position. Then the left 8. He definitely should be playing more of the striker role, but if I had to choose any position for him to play in midfield, it would have to be the left 8, because left 8 is so much more low touch than right center mid. The more Marino touches the ball, the more frustrating he becomes. Marino offensively was good. Defensively, we don't talk about it. The further he is away from our goal, the better he is. Like the little flick that he did for the goal, those are the types of things that he does in the 9 position at times. We know that he has those qualities. We've seen him do it for Spain, but he needs no role that requires him to receive the ball off of the goalkeeper, to be near our box at all, to have his back facing or to be facing our goal. No, baby. That's where we need to make sure that never happens. And to be fair to Mikel, since the Manchester City game, we've seen a lot less of it, and our form has gotten better. Ayara says, God, when we start winning these trophies, agendas will be my new name. Listen, they're coming. I hope. Elvis says, Barcelona play better football than Real Madrid, but compare the Champions League trophies. I'm glad Mikel changed our playing style. I just think everybody needs to do their own thing, and not everybody needs to be exactly the same. I think there's this element of everyone needs to be the same Z, and like, I like this team, and if you're not playing like this team, then you're not good. But we are good, just like Barcelona are good, just like PSG are good. We just play differently than them. We we just do different things. And I don't think it's necessarily that we cannot win in our way. We haven't won in our way yet. But the one thing that was missing from last season, even though we were super defensively solid, and even the season before, was just we didn't have that inevitability in the opposition's box. And so I think as long as we have the ability to open teams up, to score goals, whatever, create chances, we're fine being so defensively solid and playing in our way. But people see one team and they're like, you have to copy it bar for bar. I don't think Arsenal need to be like PSG or need to be like Barcelona. We just need to make sure we don't get into situations where we're not creating chances and we're not scoring goals. That's our only thing, because we're so defensively solid that we only need to score like one goal, you know? Dalton says Hincapié was good. He has time to improve and become better and better. Hincapié was really good today. Like, he was probably the brightest spot besides Max in the game. And we didn't need um we didn't need um we didn't need anybody else to have like a shiny game, if that makes sense. We weren't looking to anybody to like make a statement or anything, but I thought Hincapié did well. Um I was so surprised by the Ben White and Max Dowman substitutions, unnecessary. I mean, I don't, to be honest, I didn't really care. But I do think that Arteta just, especially with Ben White and Hincapié coming off, I think it was those players are still building up fitness. And also, we had scored. I think at that point we had scored, maybe we're about to. I think Arteta wanted to make sure that we were solid when Brighton pushed, because in the last 20 minutes, whether we were ahead or not, Brighton were going to push, and he wanted to make sure that we had a little bit more solidity, which meant taking Ben White off. Unfortunately, with Max, maybe he could have left Max on, but we wouldn't have scored the second goal if Max had been on. I don't think, so I think it worked out. Yeah. Systems Matter says that Marino pass was good. It really was. YouTube user says we just need to take it one game at a time. We were able to rotate and have no injuries. Now on to Burnley. Agreed. Let's see. John says, what was that? Sorry, is somebody knocking on my door? I know you're not. I don't answer the door. No. Rivals want Arteta out more than us, even if we don't win the title. Arteta has me obsessed with clean sheets. It's actually crazy. It's whenever we concede like a shot on goal, I'm like, I can't believe you've done this. Like, you cannot be conceding shots on goal. Like, we need to keep the shots down to like 0. When you get to a point where you're not even conceding a shot on goal, you're like shocked when somebody gets a shot on target. You're like, really? I'm actually still offended that they counted Nketiah's header that Raya blocked as a shot on goal. Yeah. John says Mascara has Saliba calmness while Hincapié has Gabriel's ferocity. Perfect backups. The game was becoming more open in the second half. Could have put Eze to the 10 when Yeri back on the wing and let them cook the back line with Max Dowman. To be honest, it is what it is. I understand being frustrated because maybe you thought things should have went differently, but I didn't really see a problem with the substitutions, I'll be honest, so yeah. I know it led to the second goal, but still, I hear you. I get what you're saying. Elvis says Ben White and Hincapié are going to be masters of dark arts when they get to full fitness. I think that we have a second half of the season that is going to bring a different wave of players that are going to become important to this team that maybe are not necessarily are on the fringes of the team right now. Hincapié, maybe Ben, maybe Jesus, maybe, I don't know, unless he gets sold in January. There'll be some other players that play a big part of the second half of the season, outside of just like we know that Madueke and Kai and Odegaard are going to come back in and do their thing, but it's a long season. And so even though some players are not maybe firing at all cylinders, it's okay. It's a long season. Let's see. What else are you guys saying? John says Hussam pushed this agenda to open plays the most. I don't know what excuse he'll come up with next. I mean, Sky Sports are really clever. I actually think they're pathetic for it, but you know, Arsenal have the second most open play chances created. I think I have to find the second most. I have to actually find the chart. Mo showed it on the show the other day, but Sky Sports used open play XG instead of open play chances created, because if they had put that up, it wouldn't have reached their narrative. Because obviously expected goals and chances created are two completely different metrics. And so they used the one that made us look worse. But do you guys feel like we're not creating a lot of chances? I think for maybe the Crystal Palace game, we didn't create that much. But I think outside of that, we've been really good since the Newcastle game at creating chances. Olympiacos, we created a lot of chances. Newcastle, I thought West Ham, we created enough chances. So I'm not really feeling this like whole we're not creating enough. I felt like we weren't really creating enough. Obviously, Liverpool was like not the best, and neither was City. But we're not creating chances. Like they know that they're just pushing this bullshit because we're not playing in a way that I feel like what they want us to do is open up and get turned over. They think that we're playing negative. They're saying that because we're scoring on set pieces, they're conflating the set pieces with playing negative, which means that we're not creating chances and we're not opening up. But I said this in my last video that the only reason why we don't create more chances from open play is because you guys are locked in your box. If you open up, then we'll open up. But that's why they don't open up, because they know if they open up, that we'll beat them up. Look at the teams that we played that have just went willy-nilly. Atletico Madrid, they were not locked into their box. They were kind of like more stout at certain points, but nothing like what we saw from West Ham, nothing like what we saw from City, nothing like what we saw from Crystal Palace. They got blammed. Nottingham Forest, they didn't sit in a block. Ange was just doing his nonsense. We beat them down. Like, if you're open, Olympiacos, they really should have conceded like 6 goals from us. The only reason why they didn't was because we were not clinical on the day. So if you want us to play better football, open up. That's the only reason why we don't play more expansive fluid football, because we're usually playing in one half of the pitch at the halfway line, and you guys are all sitting back like 10 men behind the ball like this, blocking the goal. Like, what are we meant to do? So I could understand more if we went to everybody's place, or even we were at the Emirates and we were sitting in our own box defending for our lives, because that's what they're convincing themselves that we're doing, that we're playing negative. We're not playing negative. You're playing negative. You, Crystal Palace, sat at the Emirates and did not try to really play. They tried to play on the counter, which is exactly what I would have done, because instead of losing 5-1 like they did last season, remember we beat them like 3-0 in one game and then we beat them like 5-1. Instead of doing that like they did last season, they lost 1-0, which is less brutal for them. Losing 1-0 is way better than losing 5-1. So I'm not trying to hear all this. Open up. Shouldn't be doing it like that. Open up and we'll play better football. We're not the ones sitting back like trying to keep you guys from scoring. That's not what we're doing. John says they forgot City put 11 men behind the ball in about a week. But when we parked the bus versus them last season, the narrative ran for about a month. I got so tired of hearing that. I'm like, we were like 2 seconds away from winning that game. Just like they were about 2 seconds away from winning the game at the Emirates. Like, it works. We were so close to winning at the Etihad, and they were so close to winning at the Emirates. It is a valid strategy when you feel like you are not at your strongest and you can't go to a strong team's place and play your way. I genuinely feel like last season, had we had 11 men, we would have beat them. we had just started getting going before Trossard got sent off. Genuinely, so I think we would have won that game. But whatever. It's neither here nor there. Man says what's crazy is Man City had like 30% possession against us, which is unheard of from a Pep team, and we get criticized. Can't make that up. Elvis says if Burnley play their usually attacking football, they'll get battered like Leeds. If you open up against us, we do usually score like 3-4 goals. That's why people don't open up. And it's smart not to open up against us. I wouldn't. If I was a team, I'd put up the nastiest block you've ever seen. I'd try to sneak a 12th man on there just to stick them near the goal and try to see if, make sure nobody can see them, try to hide them, just to get another 2 legs out there to try to keep us from getting through. Nobody is going to come to the Emirates and open up. They know what's going to happen. The only teams that will do it are like the Barcelonas and these guys. Dragoon says exactly, just we're creating the corners and free kicks don't just appear from thin air. They don't. Most of the time those happen because we're attacking and we're in and around your box. And that's the thing is I think from Arteta's perspective, it's like, well, if we're going to be in your half and you guys are going to be defending for your lives and we're going to get all these corners, we need to be good at corners to make sure that we get something out of the game because we should get something from being dominant. And that's what the corners have become and the free kicks. So I just don't care. I'm at this stage, I just want us to win things. I don't care if it's so ugly. I know it's so ugly. I don't care. I don't care how we do it. I just want us to do it. Ayara says, plus we were a man down at the Emirates. At the Etihad, yes, we were. We were a man down. So hello. But yeah, they can say whatever they want to say. We just need to win. Once we win something, I don't think that it'll slow all the talk down. I just think that it'll hold less weight. As long as we're not winning, they can throw this stuff left and right and people will eat it up, Jerome says corners are only given because we pressed the action. Don't like it, stop us then. It's not our problem, you can't deal. That's why I'm like, also stop us. If it's so easy or it's like so it's not special what we're doing, stop us and you do it. I don't understand the whole problem with the corners. It's literally not that deep. Thanks for being you. Always good points, and you know what you're talking about. Kepa was our main man today. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Stay for a while. I'll have bad takes as well. But yeah, I thought Kepa was good today. So yeah, we did what we needed to do. Abel says, I think this season we're correcting our approach and mentality against the smaller teams. The team isn't allowed to drop off mentally. I agree with that. My biggest concern coming into the season had nothing to do with the bigger games. I'm like, we will get enough points in the bigger games to do what we need to do. Last couple seasons, it's been that way, but it's the Fulhams, it's the Palaces, it's the, those types of games. It'll be the Villas. It'll be those types of games, Newcastle, where we're playing teams that are less than us or not as good as us, but we give them these points every season because we just switch off or, whatever. And so the first test I thought was like Fulham. I was like, I don't care how we do it. I need this not to be a bogey team anymore. Beat them. Don't care how we did it. We did the Crystal Palace as well. We did Newcastle. If we could beat Aston Villa home and away, I would be ecstatic. Over the moon. I'm so sick of them being the bogey. The last time that we beat them home and away, wasn't that the first season that we challenged? I swear it was. And we beat them at home. Because I feel like that was when Ramsdale got boxed in and Douglas Luiz scored from the corner. But then we went on and won like 2-1 or 3-1 or something like that. And then we beat them at their spot in that 4-2 where Jorginho knocked it off of Emmy's head. That's the last time we beat them home and away. I think every other time they've taken something off of us. I'm tired of that. I know Aston Villa are playing good right now, but when we get to them, can we please just beat them, please? I'm tired of this. It's long. So, yeah, as long as we beat the small teams, we'll score it. We'll do it well enough against the big teams to get the points that we need to for those games. Abel says Aston Villa, Everton, and Chelsea matches will be key before the turn of the year. Ayara says, when we win trophies, the respect that Saka and all our players deserve will come. They'll finally agree Saka is world class. Victor says, even Carragher called us a Mourinho-style team when we are nothing alike. Mourinho never had the highest line in the league, and we know what they're doing with the rage bait. Agreed. It's just rage bait. Elvis says, I watched us play the most beautiful football for 20 years now. I just want to see us win. And Jerome says, Jess, when we win, the goalposts will be shifted. We know this already, but it won't rattle most of us as much. I think some of our fans are just like very rattled all the time. But once we're winning, who cares? You know, they said that when the women won the Champions League, so many people were like, but you weren't the best team. You got lucky. We didn't care. We won Champions League. We didn't care. Like, nobody cares. It won't matter. It won't hurt as much, you know? You get what I'm saying? So they can move the goalposts as much as possible. We just need to put the trophies in the trophy cabinet, you know? I'm still waiting for Diluted to respond. Let's see if he did. I doubt he did. Hold on real quick. He hasn't responded, but Judge Mo's show at 3:30 p.m. UK time tomorrow. I will be there. Make sure you guys are there. Support your girl. And then hopefully I'll get a confirmation from Diluted that we'll be able to do 2 shows after that, one on my channel and one on his. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Hopefully he confirms and wants to do it. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter one. I just have some work and stuff that I have to do, so I can't stay on forever. But we will definitely talk soon. I'll probably have some more uploads up for the rest of the week, and then post-match live after Burnley, and we'll just keep it going. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. NASA telescope, spooky news. Huh? I don't know what that means. But make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel on the way out. We will talk soon. Make sure you guys support all the pre-uploaded videos as well. I know you guys are liking those. And we'll talk on the next one. Bye, guys.